When we think of gangs, we usually imagine groups of men who engage in violent and illegal activities. However, there are also many female gangs that operate in different parts of the world, and some of them are just as ruthless and dangerous as their male counterparts. These women have defied the stereotypes and challenged the male-dominated underworld. Here are 5 of the most dangerous female gangs. The Latin Queens. The Latin Kings are a historic Hispanic gang that started in Chicago in the 1940s. Initially, it began as a male-centric organization focused on battling racial prejudice and uplifting the Latinx community. However, over time, the necessity arose for women to be involved due to the gang's progression into criminal activities. Thus, the Latin Queens, sometimes called Las Flacas, emerged as formidable members in their own right, contributing a unique blend of ferocity and finesse to the gang's undertakings. The Latin Queens are deeply entwined in the criminal underpinnings of the gang, primarily focusing on narcotics. Drug trade has always been a central focus, from street-level dealing to mid-tier distribution. Cocaine and heroin, in particular, have significantly contributed to the gang's financial backbone. Additionally, the female Latin Kings have made their mark in violent crimes, taking on roles as enforcers and ensuring loyalty within their ranks, as well as engaging in financial crimes such as fraud, counterfeiting, and running protection rackets on local businesses. The heartland of the female Latin Kings remains Chicago. Still, their influence has spread across various neighborhoods, especially those predominantly inhabited by the Latinx community. Over the years, they've expanded to multiple states within the United States and even internationally, establishing connections primarily in Latin American countries like Puerto Rico and Mexico. Regarding the Mexican drug cartels, Las Flacas, or the skinny girls, have defied the typical image of heavily armed, masked men associated with the cartels. These young women, often strikingly attractive and dressed in fashionable attire, became synonymous with working for various cartels, most notably the Zetas. While their aesthetic might be alluring, they possess a capacity for violence and ruthlessness. Trained as sicarias, or female hitwomen, they have been responsible for numerous assassinations and kidnappings, targeting rival cartel members, uncooperative law enforcement officials, and sometimes innocent civilians. Beyond violence, Las Flacas is deeply intertwined with the drug trade, acting as couriers, transporting narcotics across borders and overseas. Their seemingly non-threatening appearance allows them to bypass scrutiny, making them valuable assets in the international drug trade. They also play a significant role in money laundering, leveraging their networks and legitimate businesses to cleanse vast amounts of ill-gotten gains. Moreover, Las Flacas serves a psychological role as well. Their presence, especially showcased on social media platforms, serves as a propaganda tool, flaunting their lifestyles filled with luxury, weapons, and power. This flaunting attracts younger recruits and showcases the perceived glamour and dominance of their respective cartels. Their territory primarily aligns with the cartels they serve, with a strong influence in northeastern Mexico, particularly in states like Tamaulipas and Nuevo León, which are strongholds of the Zetas. However, their reach extends beyond borders, especially along the US-Mexico border areas and even into Central America, acting as intermediaries in the sprawling drug trade networks. The Pink Panthers. The Pink Panthers are a notorious gang of jewel thieves, mostly women from Serbia and Montenegro, who have been operating since 1984. The group has about 800 main members, many of whom used to be soldiers with extensive military and paramilitary backgrounds. Most members are Serbian, Montenegrin, or from other former Yugoslavian states, believed to be tied to the Bosnian War. Using their military skills for criminal activities, Interpol named the group after the Pink Panther crime comedy film series. This gang is infamous for their heists and attempts to break into specific stores. They've stolen over $500 million worth of diamonds, gold, and other precious items from luxury stores across the globe, especially in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Their heists are well planned and executed with precision, often involving disguises, weapons, and high-speed escapes. They have no central leader, but work in small cells that follow a code of silence. Their exploits have inspired movies and earned them a name after the famous comedy film series. The Pink Panther first came to attention in 2003 when they hid a $500,000 diamond in a jar of face cream, mimicking an act seen in the film The Return of the Pink Panther. Since then, they've been responsible for some of the most audacious robberies in history, such as the theft of $65 million worth of jewels from Graf Diamonds in London in 2009, the largest ever gem heist in Britain. In 2008, before a robbery at Graf Jewelers in Dubai, 8 gang members drove Audis through a window and stole watches and other items worth £8 million. In another robbery in December 2008, 4 gang members disguised themselves as women to break into Harry Winston Jewelers in Paris. They got away with items worth over $100 million, around £60 million. They have also targeted stores in Tokyo, Dubai, Paris, Monaco, and many other cities, sometimes using luxury cars or speedboats as getaway vehicles. The Pink Panthers are not only skilled thieves, but also experts in evading capture. They have used fake passports, forged documents, and multiple identities to travel across borders and avoid detection. They have also exploited legal loopholes and prison breaks to escape justice. Some of them have been arrested and convicted, but many remain at large. Interpol has created a special task force to track them down and recover the stolen goods. The Pink Panthers are considered by some criminologists as artists of crime, who combine creativity, intelligence, and daring in their heists. They've also been described as modern-day Robin Hoods, who steal from the rich and share with the poor. However, their crimes are not victimless, as they often involve violence and intimidation. They have also been linked to other criminal organizations, such as the Serbian Mafia and the YACS crime group. The Pink Panthers are still active and pose a serious threat to the security of the global jewelry industry. The Lady Pirates. Born from the gritty streets of Los Angeles in the 1970s, they form an essential part of the larger Bloods gang network. While the formation of the Bloods was a response to the influence and intimidation of the Crips, the Lady Pirates arose to represent and safeguard the interests of female members within this fractious urban environment. Sharing the foundational principles and affiliations of the Bloods, they recognized the need for an independent female cohort to address the unique challenges they faced in the male-dominated gang world. The criminal portfolio of the Lady Pirates mirrors much of what the larger Bloods faction engages in, but with a distinct female touch. Drug trafficking is a prominent activity, with many members involved in distributing and selling narcotics, especially crack cocaine, during its epidemic in the 1980s and 1990s. Moreover, the Lady Pirates have been implicated in many violent crimes, from drive-by shootings to home invasions and robberies, displaying fierce loyalty to the Bloods' cause. Prostitution and human trafficking also fall under their umbrella of illicit activities. The Lady Pirates have been known to control and manage prostitution rings, using the profits to fund other criminal operations and support incarcerated members. Their involvement in this trade isn't limited to management alone. Some members have been pushed into prostitution voluntarily or coerced, making this a deeply entrenched and controversial aspect of their operations. Geographically, the influence of the Lady Pirates, much like their male counterparts, is most deeply felt in Los Angeles, from South Central LA to Compton. Their presence is known and feared in many areas. However, their influence isn't confined to California, spreading to other states across the U.S. With the migration of members seeking new territories or escaping law enforcement, the Lady Pirates have established footholds in cities like New York, Newark, and even regions in the South. As the years have rolled on, the Lady Pirates have evolved and established themselves as a force to be reckoned with. Their ability to navigate the criminal world, often facing double the prejudice as female gang members, underscores their resilience and determination. The Aizis are a group of women who play a vital role in Japan's Yakuza underworld. They're mainly connected to the Yakuza through familial ties, such as being wives, daughters, or sisters of the male gangsters. They handle operational aspects of the organization, such as financial management, money laundering, and serving as intermediaries in illicit deals. They also act as informants, negotiators, and mediators for the Yakuza, using their charm and intelligence to gain trust and influence. One of the most influential Aizis was Raiko Takashima, who masterfully wielded her network to develop a sprawling criminal enterprise. She was involved in various illegal activities, such as drug trafficking, prostitution, gambling, and extortion. She also had connections with politicians, businessmen, and celebrities who sought her favors and protection. She earned her notoriety in Japan's criminal annals as the queen of the underworld. The activities of the Aizis were largely confined to regions where the Yakuza held sway, particularly in urban centers like Tokyo and Osaka. They operated under the shadow of the patriarchal Yakuza culture, which often discriminated and exploited them. They also face the risk of violence and arrest from rival gangs and law enforcement. The traditions associated with the Aizis reflect those of the Yakuza, including elaborate tattooing and strict codes of loyalty and honor. The tattoos are a symbol of their identity and allegiance to the Yakuza, as well as a form of art and expression. The codes of loyalty and honor are based on the principles of giri, or duty, and ninjo, or humanity, which require them to obey and respect their superiors and peers, as well as to show compassion and generosity to those in need. The Aryan Sisterhood. The Aryan Sisterhood is a female prison gang that emerged in the late 20th century in the United States as a response to the increasing racial tensions and violence in correctional facilities. The gang is affiliated with the Aryan Brotherhood, a notorious male prison gang and crime syndicate that espouses neo-Nazi and white supremacist ideologies. The Aryan Sisterhood's main objectives are to protect themselves and their male counterparts from other ethnic gangs, to support the Aryan Brotherhood's criminal activities inside and outside the prison, and to promote the dominance and preservation of the white race. The Aryan Sisterhood is involved in various violent and illegal activities within and beyond the prison walls. Inside the prison, they engage in drug trafficking, extortion, and murder for hire, using their connections with the Aryan Brotherhood to source narcotics, weapons, and information. They also participate in brutal attacks against rival gang members, prison staff, and anyone who opposes or challenges their supremacy. Outside prison, they have been implicated in bank robberies, drug operations, hate crimes, and murders, serving as couriers, enforcers, or leaders of certain external operations. They also associate with various white supremacist groups and movements, such as the Ku Klux Klan, the National Alliance, and the World Church of the Creator. In terms of influence and territory, the Aryan Sisterhood's power base is primarily within American prisons, particularly in state and federal correctional facilities in the West, Midwest, and Southwest for women's prisons. Their alliance with the Aryan Brotherhood amplifies their influence and provides protection, facilitating their criminal endeavors inside and outside the penitentiary walls. While their reach outside prison is not as extensive as some other gangs, their ties to various white supremacist groups provide a broader platform to propagate their ideologies and engage in larger-scale criminal activities. The Aryan Sisterhood is estimated to have about 100 members in federal and state prisons across the country. However, they face many challenges and obstacles that threaten their existence and influence. One of these challenges is the gang's lack of leadership and organization. Unlike the Aryan Brotherhood, which has a hierarchical structure and a clear chain of command, the Aryan Sisterhood is more loosely organized and decentralized. This makes it difficult to coordinate their activities, resolve conflicts, and recruit new members. Another challenge is the rivalry and competition with other gangs, especially female gangs with similar ideologies or backgrounds. For example, the female Peckerwoods are another white supremacist prison gang that has clashed with the Aryan Sisterhood over territory, resources, and alliances. A third challenge is the scrutiny and pressure from law enforcement agencies, which have intensified their efforts to crack down on prison gangs and criminal networks. Several members of the Aryan Sisterhood have been arrested, convicted, or sentenced to death for their involvement in high-profile cases of violence and crime. These female gangs exemplify the complex and often harsh world of organized crime. But what drives women to join such groups? And how can society address the factors that lead to their involvement in these dangerous lifestyles? Please make sure to watch the next video on our channel.